Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new video. Welcome to the very center of Moscow. Now today, they've actually got a seafood festival going on right behind me, right here in the center of Moscow. I thought we'd go for a walk around together and check it out. Geographically, I am pretty much right in the center of Moscow. This is the very famous Tverskaya Street, which is one of the main roads that leads away from the Kremlin and Red Square. Lots of traffic today. We've even got the sightseeing buses out. Not too sure how many people are riding it though. That's the State Duma, where all the big decisions are made in Russia. And then we've got the Four Seasons Hotel, which is very recognizable. One of the more expensive hotels to stay at in Russia. And then right here is Okhotny Ryad, and on the right hand side there's actually an underground shopping center, which is quite interesting to walk in, and the fact that it's not built up above street level so that it doesn't spoil the view. And underneath us here is Okhotny Ryad metro station, so if you want to come to the center of Moscow, this is where you get out at if you want to go to Red Square. You can see off in the distance the State Historical Museum. You can see the corner of the Kremlin. And we're going to go for a walk around Moscow on the Wave. That's the actual name of the event. And it's a seafood festival celebrating all things fish and seafood. And they've got this very nice closed off area here in the center that we can walk through and check it out. Before I walk in there, I just want to point out it is very busy today. It is Sunday afternoon, so lots of people are out and about, and it's not so easy to walk around when there's lines and crowds, so I'll do my best. Now I want you to pay attention just to the amount of people that are out in Moscow today. It's a beautiful day, a little bit cloudy, but just we want to have a look at some fish and seafood, and I think lots of beautiful people as well. So take a little bit of a note at how everybody looks and how everybody's dressed and how everybody's enjoying the beautiful spring afternoon here in Moscow. I'm not sure how Russian these date palms are. They seem a little bit tropical for the center of Moscow. And where we're going to walk around here is this closed off area that they've set up for this event called Moscow on the Wave. Now they actually are holding this in quite a few different places around Moscow and Moscow region, and this is one of the main ones right here in the center. And just the amount of effort they put into setting these up to bring all of the plants and trees. This is actually all temporary, so they'll actually take this away. This is the last day of the event as well. I think it's been going on for 2 weeks now. I was in the center of Moscow last weekend for it as well. And they had an event over at Muzon Park where you could actually go fishing. And the first prize was $1 million rubles, or 10,000 US dollars if you caught the biggest fish. Now I do want to try to find something to try. The only thing is, I'll have to perhaps put up with all the lines and all the people that are here. What I think I'm going to do is just go for a bit of a walk around and take in the atmosphere and how busy it is, and have a look at this king crab right here. This is huge, and they're essentially doing barbecued king crab and these king prawns. Now where you live, let me know, do you call them prawns or do you call them shrimps? They've actually got some frozen ones here that you can buy to take home as well. But that food looks beautiful, it smells beautiful as well. The only thing I've got to endure is the lines to get something to eat. And they've got the menus. So the actual different food stalls here are from different restaurants that are in Moscow, and they've come together for this event. And the one thing that's interesting this year, they've actually got the menu in Russian, English, and perhaps Chinese or Mandarin as well, which is super interesting. And you can see here one of the chefs cooking on the barbecue right there. And they've got these open kitchens all around the place. And just lines upon lines. Let's see if we can scooch through. And of course, beautiful ladies and beautiful fish. The two things that I love, along with football, of course. And again, each of these stands has different food. So they actually have food from different regions of Russia as well. Generally, most of the seafood comes from the Far East. And they've set some nice tables up so you can actually just relax. Probably a little bit hard to get a table, but it's okay. Just have to put up with a little bit of a wait and have a look at these gardens that they've made with all the cactus. These aren't particularly Russian, but they do look good at this time of year though. What do you think? I love how they make these themed events and they try to, encourage people to come out and experience different food from different regions of Russia. Again, another line, and all the ladies are lining up for some nice snacks. These umbrellas as well. So they've held this for a few years in a row, and I've come to this before. And generally, if you come during the week, it's much easier and much quieter than coming on the weekends. It's a matter of just gritting your teeth and then realizing that all of Moscow is here for these events, because they put them on for everybody. So they, aren't particularly inviting anybody, just they put it on as a general event and everybody can show up. Looks like they've got some sorts of different sandwiches here. Shrimp roll. Don't have to go to McDonald's to get a shrimp roll. I can get one right here. Have a look at that. Far East smelts on a bun. I like the fact they've got the English language as well. I wonder if this is somebody's order or it's a display one. Looks very nice. Let me move out the way. He was almost trying to give me a sandwich. Let me keep walking on and find some more interesting things. The only thing about this video is my wife, I just hope she's not watching, because she's going to be so upset. They've got grilled dorado here, so basically grilled fish, and she loves that. And have a look, also salmon and shrimps, lots of different things. And I really want to see if I can show them cooking the food right here, because it's always interesting. They just do it literally on the open barbecues. And this gentleman here, the barbecue master, and they're pretty skilled guys. Whole fish right there on the barbecue. Actually, the flames are a little bit much, but it's good. And in the back there, they've got shrimps and looks like mussels also. And all of this open kitchen style. Who's hungry right now? Let me know in the comments. Now, I was hoping to walk around and make the video reasonably quickly, but I've met so many subscribers today. I think already more than 10 subscribers, and I've not been here more than 15 minutes. So if you're watching this after meeting me here today, thank you so much for stopping, for a photo, for a chat. It was really amazing. I even met some people from Indonesia who watch my channel. So hello to you guys as well. And if you see me anywhere in public, please say hello, and please stop me while I'm filming. It's nice to meet other people that watch my channel, so thank you so much. It's really actually very warm today. Now, it's around about 27 Celsius. And the one thing that you notice when you come into the center of Moscow, it feels like there's no air and there's no breeze. and a 27-degree day feels like 37 degrees, and it suddenly gets that much warmer. There's another stand here. This is what I want. Mussels with cream sauce. That's what I'd like to have. If I could just endure lining up with all the beautiful ladies, I might be able to get some. And of course, lots of people getting photos, and pretty cool. Wow. Really nice. And have a look at this centerpiece that they've made. They've got the wood decking, they've got the nice sofas and tables. This is really a big difference from last year. They've really upped the game a lot and improved how it looks and just how it feels. You can just relax, eat some nice food, and take in this beautiful sunny day. And lots of people. Now, I really wanted the video to be about everybody that's here as well. So all the people and all the food and everybody essentially wanting to eat some nice seafood. And then more fish here and salmon. They've even got some corn as well. And everybody just hanging out, enjoying this nice day. I mean, it's very hard to even get a bad angle as I'm walking around. You can see the museums off behind this exhibit. I think that's the right word. So nice. Have a look at this. They've got a little room set up here where the ladies can get some nice photos. And then again, I really want to see some seafood, as everybody uses that joke that they're on a seafood diet. They see food and they want to eat it. They've actually got some soups here as well. Have a look, fish soup for $2.50. And then there's an Olivia shrimp. Maybe that's a salad, perhaps. $3.50. And the very happy guy working here as well. More ladies getting some photos. Again, this nice setting with the trees and the backgrounds. It's hard to not get a nice photograph with all of these trees and plants that they've set up. And of course, all of the crowds of people. It's really a lot of people. We're right in the center of Moscow, so you've got to expect this. Anytime you come on the weekends, there's always going to be a line for almost anything that you go to. There'd be a line for water in Moscow if there was a stand selling it. They really have done so well with this garden that they've set up, and just how dramatically different it feels when you walk through here, right in the center of Moscow. And these are all just temporary. They're just here for a day or two, and then they pack them up. Actually, I think this one here might be for 2 weeks, and this is the last day. And all these are all like full living structures. So I'm always curious how they set them up and bring them here, and then plant everything to have it looking so green and so beautiful. Again, more ladies wanting to get photos. They need to fill their Instagram accounts while they're here today and get some nice pictures. Let me see if we can find some more food. I think this perhaps is the first lady chef that I found, and she's busy frying the fish here. So good. And it's very warm as well. It's warm out in the sun. Can't imagine standing over this frying pan for a few hours. But this food looks really nice. And it's not that expensive. It's very reasonable considering it is seafood. You know, they do their best to keep the prices more reasonable. And I think that's an initiative by the government as well when they set these events up, that they don't want the prices to be too expensive and too high, that it's not reasonable for someone to come and have some food. They've even got donuts. This is about as Russian as you get. Donuts and corn. But we're at a seafood event. We don't want corn. I think I probably need to ask everybody watching, are you a fan of seafood? Is it something that you enjoy to eat? And then would you come to events like this where it's focused purely on seafood? Of course, you can come for a nice walk in the center of the city at the same time. But do you love seafood as much as I do? Now, the one thing that's very handy in Russia is there's a lot of seafood that comes from the far east of Russia, and then it's definitely very available here in Moscow. Perhaps it's probably not as cheap as it is if you went over to the other side of the country. Just the amount of people that's here as well. It's as though we haven't had anything to eat for days on end, and this is the first food that we're eating. But I think a lot of people want to come for these unique food items. Kamchatka crab claws, and a Michelin star restaurant that's serving it to you as well. How about gazpacho with crab? Who likes these soups? I'm not a particular fan of that, but you know, I think I could probably brave having it if I have to. So have a look. There's empty tables, so you can definitely come and find somewhere to sit down and relax and eat. Another part of the fish festival that they've got set up here in the center of Moscow are these different fish ponds, and there's actually koi fish in them as well, and you can actually see them right there swimming around. I always consider them as giant goldfish, maybe not koi fish. I know they are koi, but this is really nice. This is a proper setup too. They've got the stone walls, they've got these wooden benches that you can sit on and lean on, and they've set this up right here in the center of Moscow. And there's gazebos that they put up as well, all the planting. Of course, we shouldn't be feeding the fish. I think most people aren't doing that. There's some more in there, and lots of people, of course, wanting to get nice photographs and get as close as possible to the fish. Lots of kids, and very nice. This is really very cool what they've set up here. You can't get that close to the fish, but you can definitely lean in and see them as close as you like. More ladies taking photos. It's just really an interesting setup that they've done. And it's just such a dramatic, different feeling when you walk through this. Now, at different times of the year, they've got different events here. And if you come here in winter time, they also have the ice slides set up as well. So it's really such a contrast. Have a look at this over here. They've got the garden and the grass, and then you can just literally relax. They've got sofas and coffee tables. It's really so nice to walk through. Now, I've known this was already here, so I'm perhaps surprised by how much effort they put into it this year. It seems to get bigger and better every year that you come. Let's see if we can see the big koi fish swimming around right there. I wonder where these come from. Do they come from a fish farm somewhere or an aquarium? I hope they don't end up at the fish stand later and you can actually have them for dinner. I wonder if there's a guy coming every half an hour and digging one out. I think not, but This young guy wanting to get up close with them. Just such a nice atmosphere, and just a very nice lazy Sunday afternoon as well. If you might have watched my recent video at the bike festival, they had some fire pits set up where you could sit around and put a log on the fire. And then here they've got these ponds that they've set up. Literally, they've got the benches right there, and there's no safety barriers. There's no pictures that say do not climb on it. Nothing like that. You can literally do what you like. You know, there's no chance, I don't think, of anybody wanting to go for a swim. It's just such a contrast to other countries. If this was Australia, there'd be fences around it, there'd be guards near the water's edge, and you wouldn't be able to do anything. Alright, I can choose a fish for dinner now. They actually have another setup here by Tiekranaya metro station, which is really just a few minutes walk from where we were. And they've got another masterclass here where they're doing demonstrations of cooking the different fish and seafood. And just the amount of people that are interested in watching how they cook the fish and the different techniques. And of course, people here just enjoying the food. They've actually got stalls set up all around the edge of this part as well. And maybe not necessarily seafood related, but still a nice spot to come. And I was thinking it was going to be a little less crowded over here, but everybody is fascinated by how to cook fish. I think I understand why everybody wants to sit by the edge of the water here, because it's a little bit cooler than it is when you're walking around in the sun. It's really amazing just how hot it gets in Moscow. Even on a day like today with 27 Celsius temperatures, it's definitely not Australia hot weather, but it's definitely warm for Russia. Lots of people. Again, now as I get a bit closer back to the center of the expo, and lots of people getting photos and just enjoying the view and the scenery. I mean, how often do you get to see fish ponds right here in the center of Moscow? Just the amount of people here makes for an interesting video in itself. Lots of people want to get a nice new profile photo maybe for their social media, or they just want to come and have some fish in the gardens. It's really just so nice to come for this walk around. And I enjoy coming here without even filming and making videos. Any of these different events that they've got are very worth coming to, because they do so well at theming them and making them also about the products that they're serving as well. So this is all about Russian seafood, and to encourage people to eat more seafood, of course, and you know, not just come just for something to eat. You've got to come and have some Russian seafood. Look at the lines wrapping everywhere. Now, the one thing that I want to try is fish and chips. Now, you just don't find this in Russia. Of course, all these other beautiful things, but fish and chips you just don't find too often. I think in all the years that I've lived here in Moscow, I've never seen fish and chips on a menu anywhere. I mean, you could get a fish burger or a fish cutlet, but to actually get fish and chips, now the test is, how is it going to be? Is it going to be like Harry Ramsden's in Blackpool? Is it maybe going to be like fish and chips I have in Australia? I'm very curious to see how it tastes. And here is my fish and chips, literally served from the gentleman right there. Now, the only thing I will say is it doesn't quite look like the picture. I was hoping something a little bit more authentic battered fish. However, it is fish and chips, and I am eating it literally in the shadow of the Kremlin, which is not more than a couple of 100 meters from here. So I'm going to enjoy my somewhat traditional fish and chips here in Russia. So let's give it a try, shall we? So the one thing that's interesting, I've got traditional Heinz ketchup, or as we would call it in Australia, tomato sauce. And I wonder, did Heinz leave Russia? Do you all remember when McDonald's left Russia and everybody was taking photos of the ketchup packets where they'd scratched out the name of Heinz on there? And it's still here. French fries. Are we still calling them French fries? I think so. These are definitely good. Oh. French fries and ketchup. Or in Australia, it would be chips and sauce. Now, the only problem with the fish now is I don't have a way to cut it because they gave me a fork, and I'm going to be a little bit awkward and dunk it in the ketchup. Really, this would be nice with tartar sauce or even a mayonnaise, but it's good. It's pretty much a fish cutlet. Now, probably some people may even call this a big fish finger. Well, I'm having fish and chips in Russia, in Moscow. Oh, actually, it's really tasty. Well, they're doing something right. Maybe it doesn't look traditional like the picture on the wall there, but for me, I'm completely happy. It's really pretty simple how they're cooking the different food here, and they've got the big king crab claws literally on the barbecue, so they've got the open fire and then the actual plate around the outside. Very straightforward, and they've already got all the claws already cut and prepared, and then the open kitchen, and then the line of everybody waiting to order some crab. I wonder if for everybody watching, if you've had smelts before, and these little tiny fish right here, and this young guy concentrating like it's his award-winning fish that is cooking. My wife actually loves these. They're basically just tiny fish, and they put them in a batter, and then they grill them or barbecue them. Has anybody had smelts before? As I do one more walk around of this main square area, it's really not any quieter, even though it's quite a few hours later now. There is still lots of people here, and of course I think it's almost a pastime when they've got events with food set up that people want to come and enjoy something, particularly where it's local food as well. It's really not fast food like you would see traditionally in shopping malls. It's normal cooked food by chefs. Lots of people still getting photographs and just enjoying this whole garden setup that they've done right in the center of Moscow. Lots of people coming and going. I think what I might do is do one last lap around. I really want to try something else, but just the lines are so long at all the different stands. More beautiful ladies getting photos and posing by the gardens here, which is really just something that's not very typical for the center of Moscow. They set these up only, I think, a few times a year where they do them to this extent. I know in winter they've got a very nice one with the tree in the center as well. What are they serving here? There's lots of people gathered around this stand also. And I wish there was just not so long lines everywhere. I want it to be quieter. But I make this effort to come here on the weekends when there's always the longer lines. So I guess I've got to take it on myself for having to, find the quieter time when to come. It's very interesting, I think. Now this is something that I would really like to have if the line wasn't so long. And have a look again. Now of course, because they're barbecuing everything, it's not as quick to make them. There's no microwaves here, there's no fast cooking. And I would really like these king prawns. And they've also got the fish here as well. Have a look at that. And literally these guys are just cooking it on the open grill. As simple as that. Now, should I brave the line to get some king prawns? So if you wait long enough in line, you will eventually get served. And I decided to get the king prawns, or very large shrimp. And actually, they gave me a little bit more than the normal serving. So I'm going to give this a try and let you know what I think. Now, I was really struggling to find a table or somewhere to actually have the food, but finally I found a spot. And it's a little bit hard to make a tasting video, but I got these king prawns with basically, I think it's like a sweet and sour sauce. Now, of course, prawns are not always particularly beautiful to look at, but normally they're beautiful to eat. And the only thing too, you get your hands messy, you get, you know, a little bit of sauce everywhere. Let's give them a try. Very tasty, and right off the grill as well, so they're as fresh as they can be. My hands aren't in the best state, but grilled prawns here in Moscow, in the middle of the center of Moscow. What more could I ask for? As I head on out of the fish festival, I really hope you've enjoyed the video and you enjoyed my little tastings. The actual king prawns at the end were very delicious. Probably better than the fish and chips. Although the fish and chips were still good. And it wasn't beautiful. A little bit manufactured fish and chips, I think, is probably the polite word to say. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. That way we can see how many people like these types of events and these festivals that I go to. I'm going to actually walk on up towards the metro now to head on home. If you want to post a comment, please let me know what you think of the event that I was at here today. Not too sure how many other people attend this and put videos on YouTube. If you want to join me on Telegram, I post lots of photos of my day as I'm out and about in Moscow. You can click the link right there. Then if you want to watch an old video on the channel, click this link. Something perhaps you haven't seen before will come on up and you can keep traveling with Russell. Okay, everybody, I'm off on another adventure. Bye.